same circle every time, and
any noisy neighbours.
Sick of it.
For the time being, it's not out of the question that Na'Vi could grab some vehicles and rotate down there, but I'm not expect everything's changing game on game. We're going back to military.
Back to military we go. Back to base. But honestly, this is going to be unfortunate for a Fairview squad.
Oh, wow.
I mean, for 4MV as well, they're like, okay, we'll take it. We'll take it for the second time today. Everyone else was so sure it wasn't going over towards Sosnovka. They just headed down to a military base in the first place. So, again, very, very nice stuff. Na'Vi, they'll be immediately making their way on through. I believe we have an interview coming up with Enigma Galaxy, and we'll be talking to some of their players very shortly.
We'll be hearing a little bit from them about their approach to today, about what they've been able to get done. Only 4MV on the military base this time around, so not going to have too many.
It's so sad.
An interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, they got a plan for it. This is the current plan. It's not gone well, and they had to retreat quite quickly out of there. Still one player remaining. Na'Vi just got here a little bit sooner. For Enigma Galaxy, another player. Look at the E-Dust here, but it is 4MV, in fact, getting the back line here of Na'Vi. I think Na'Vi forgot the original droppers over here on Sosnovka.
We were bored on the military base. You merely rotated here. It's 4MV. Lay claim to the mountaintop there. Apex. We'll get rezzed up here. Na'Vi, they're embroiled in this scrap with Enigma Galaxy. Falcons are crunching in behind this on the other side of the bridge blank. DRX are starting to think about doing the same. And this west side bridge going to get a whole lot messier, I'm sure, in the coming moments. I'm interested to see if Team Spirit go for their car boat, their boat car, their croat, or their bar. Not sure. See if they can...
Gives you energy.
True. Slow release.
Wheels in the car, mainly. And a crossing over the
Carbohydrates famously giving people wheels.
Yeah, man. No.
No.
I'm pretty quick, though.
Yeah, you are pretty nippy.
Yeah, I reckon I could, like, stay with it for 60 meters.
Do you reckon? 60 meters? Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I've done it once.
As long as you have a 60-meter head start.
No.
What?
I was actually on the tracks the other day with Mr. Piastri, testing it out.
Oh, yeah.
He was well surprised.
He was like, whoa, who's that?
That's crazy. You're
Who's
so
this
fast.
ginger northerner?
You're so fast,
streaking past me.
But no, not as fast as me was Enigma Galaxy getting across this road, at least. They've back off slightly and now made their way back into things. It hasn't gone as badly as I thought it would, though. They're down to 3 players, but have 2 eliminations on side. I actually thought this was a bit more of a disastrous approach from them. Obviously, 6 will be holding out Narvalo on the bridge. There is somewhat of a compression going on between a lot of these teams.
Narvalo has the face, will not be able to take the shots in time. Unfortunately, misses the peak, mistimes it. And the engagement goes the way of Na'Vi, so Enigma Galaxy, they are going to lose 1 more player. 2 aliens found, though, and they have managed to get their forward duo across. In the meantime, Na'Vi hold the bridge, but losing Lemon, not ideal. 4MV still holding out from that side.
That looks like Voin Donkey went for a rotate in the glider.
Ah, they have lost a player, though.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. A backpack holding the bicycle. Big old backpack. As you can see, they got the American Tourister Rolio collection on side.
Ooh.
I don't think it can fit a bike in it, but in game it can.
That's true.
Which is kind of good.
There you go. Gotta love it.
I could maybe cram one in a real one if I tried hard enough.
If you could, like, blend it.
Yeah.
You could just, like, shred it.
Will it blend?
Yeah, exactly.
Bike edition.
Bike dust. Don't breathe this. Influence Rage on the northeast side right now, just moving south of Yasnaya. Little tumble, 2, 3 rolls in the car, but it's back on its tires nice and safely.
7.
They are moving on down towards the prison area right now. And again, gonna have to get across nice and fast. Those cliffs on the south side of the military base. Incilio, they're holding with 1 player on the bridge on the girders. They will hold it hard as iron. And D plus Key are gonna fall short.
It's typical play from Incilio, actually. I think we've seen this from them a fair few times. I think with how definite the circle was down towards Sosnovka. So many more teams were able to set up. It wasn't hard off towards that eastern side either, so both bridges are in play, which is going to alleviate some of that traffic jam situation that you'll get going on, but it did mean that Incilio could set up nice and early. They even have a player over towards Novorobnoysk. This is a lot of plans in action right now for Incilio. Watching out over towards the dock side there. There will have to be a very quick regroup from Incilio to hold out Thunder Talks. They already have 2 players down towards the south side. I imagine with the time that's going to be afforded towards them, the rest of the team is going to have to take...
Is very, very likely to end up there. The center of the circle has to be on playable ground, which means that the south side is pretty much the only available options here. Nice little spray down as Na'Vi take to the iron as well. Falcons falling short of the crossing, but teams will start to fully commit now to getting down on that south side. However, the north edge of that Sosnovka Island, this is some interesting compounds that lie just a little bit back from the beach, some hilltops as well, interesting terrain, a lot of late game crashes you tend to see onto those compounds as well, so we'll have to wait for those to unfold, to unveil themselves for us. Team Spirit regroup up towards that north shore, towards the beach. It looks like they're trying to get value from getting sideswipe points on towards the bridge out to the east side, or maybe they're trying to move in towards a beachside area further into the west.
For DRX as well as D+, they both played this position before very nicely over towards the beachhead. Redlick's getting a lot of value off this position right now, and teams keep giving it to him, apparently, which is very nice for him. But for Team Spirit, this has not gone well for them over in the group stages when they played this spot before, and it's because there was way too much fidgeting, let's put it that way, in terms of their rotations. They were all over the shop a lot of times, and I get they were trying to get locational information in terms of where people are rotating from on the map, but there is, like you say, plenty of very strong compounds in this area. I think for Team Spirit, just holding one of those positions is a good idea. It looks to me like they were able to bring at least one boat over, one car over in that boat earlier on in the game, which leaves them very mobile, but in a way, it almost hurts them in their previous matches, where they were just zipping all over the place, and then suddenly getting picked off by a player on the sidelines. So for Team Spirit, what I want to see here from them is a bit more caution, because this is an easily winnable game on that northern side after that early rotate.
Certainly could be high value for them. With Falcons going down to 2 early, they are a little bit isolated on that lighthouse position. You can see them just across the road from Alpha 7, still on that mainland. Unlikely that they get too much further, so podium up for grabs off of this game. They're already pushing ahead. Enigma Galaxy as well, losing 2. Is not going to be ideal for their point scoring abilities. They are on that military island already though, so maybe a little bit more hope for them than for Falcons. Next circle is going to be popping in about 20 seconds, so we'll see who is favored by it. Voindonki moved up that west side blank. We saw them lose a player, but they made landfall successfully. And Guild, who are rotating very late out on that south side, have managed to keep 4 alive, but they're all the way out on the southeast side as we see where the next circle is going to drag us.
Yeah, it's what I would call a panic rotate from Guild, which is where, honestly, they get down towards that south side, and I think at that point in time you try and play up towards the airstrip, but here they're just searching for barren land that they can try and get through, and I think for Guild, it's fair enough to try and go for this one, but now they've allowed teams to create there's a bubble around the circle that they'll have to break through later on. This is the circle that I was somewhat expecting coming into this game. I didn't think it would actually happen though. But for Team Spirit, now is the time to calm down a little bit. Move over towards those compounds, play the long game. It's not a case of trying to pick up a huge amount of points in terms of eliminations. Those chicken dinners will see you through. And these are one of the few positions on the map where it's much easier to pick up a chicken dinner from a strong position, because so many teams have awkward spots around the map. Vicious making their crossing on that north side. In comes Enigma Galaxy alongside with Na'Vi.
Cilio running down D+ Kia. Top going to descend for the Falcons, trying to wrap through Alpha 7. As they do manage to keep everyone alive for the time being. Top getting in position, but the long-range shots, the off angles for Alpha 7, keeping them safe for a little bit longer. Top is there. East is back on that high ground. With both sides, they'll try and make it work. D+ Kia, they have 2 players left. And they are seemingly going to be going down to one fairly soon, as Redlick has that off angle. 3 players alive. Incilio on the east side continue to just perform on this day. 4 eliminations found. High value from that bridge camping position. They've managed to transition effectively, and they're sweeping through from the east now, Blank, and that is going to make them certainly pleased with their performance so far. Off of 3 matches, they were able to get 32 points, and that is where we want to see teams vying for the top spot over that 10-point average. Getting 4 on this game already is great news to try and keep that pace up. Donkey looking to do that as well. Top there with a 1-for-1 trade over towards McGrellin. We're in stage 3, 45 seconds really to get this res going, so you can get that healing done. Carrillo does trade it off, but the flush goes through, and Alpha 7 lose 1.
Should be another good grenade over the top as well. Falcons are suffering somewhat. In comes East, another airburst on this one. Does get a tagger damage as well, so that gives him information, but it could have easily been a tagger damage on towards a knock player. He moves up, East has to back off again. S12K in the hands of Carrillo. It really did carry them through a lot of the group stage. And East is terrified to go up against him. Goes for the sprays, it's good shots, and East will finish it off.
East able to shut that one down, and Carrillo goes away for the game. 2 in play. Teams will be vying for that, I'm sure, very, very shortly.
Pretty much now, it is a case of Team Spirit have been given a massive opportunity. If they go down in the next, let's say, 10 minutes, I think I'd be disappointed with that kind of game. I think this is easily a match where they can get top 5 in. Realistically, they should win it off the back of this one. They do need to deal with the Vicious on that north side. A top 5 wouldn't be unreasonable. Anything lower than that, I think a mistake has been made.
The mistakes that we've seen from Team Spirit before, I mean, they have sometimes come in the form of, well, I mean, this is a great pickup over towards Guild and towards Influence Range as well. Everything lining up for Team Spirit. But the sort of mistakes we've seen before is where they get a little bit overconfident with their peaks and their splits. Particularly, we criticized Nomi during the group stage and during the prior tournaments as well for maybe getting a little bit too overconfident, but it seems to have been repaired. A little bit more consistent on side. That's really where we saw their strength develop into their group stage. Hopefully, they're bringing that through to be able to convert off of a really strong game that they've just seen.
It's very hard to criticize Nomi. And I've done it in the past, and it was so hard to do. But the thing is with Nomi, he's a double-edged sword at the end of the day. All right? He either slices through your opponents or comes swinging straight back at you. And either way, it's good or it's very bad. Or it's very good, okay?
It's very bad.
It's not good or very bad. It's very good or it's very bad.
There's no in-between.
There's no in-between, realistically. So it's hard to criticize Nomi because he has this weird playstyle where you're accepting that he's going to make some bad mistakes at times, but other times he will carry your team. Tong Jiabao, on the other hand, trying to rely on Flower in the back line.
Going well, though, the spray downs over towards RCB, but finally Loxy finds his feet, steps forwards, leans his shoulder down, and charges. TJB pushed back, and now just 676 on the off angle. There's no way you get this res. You can't stay in the blue for RCB. The only way they get these players back up is if they move them forwards. They get them through. Oh, the wedge on the vehicle. That is really rough. Silas is going to go down here. Sara very likely to fall as well.
No way!
They pick him up on the bonnet. All right,
No way!
to be rolled on forward. Sara can crawl down behind the vehicle. They're not into the zone just yet. They might be able to find the res here, but it's so on the line. It's down to the wire. Wild might be able to find it, but in the meantime, the rest of RCB has fallen. That is the flush on the off angle, and now it's just Wild left for RCB. It was getting a little bit crazy there, but finally we find some sanity.
Okay, reasonable behavior. You know, like a rhino just sticks the player on the front horn there, and fair enough. Works out, gets him further into the zone. Unfortunately, there are off angles there taking shots at the same time. But for RCB, quick thinking in the moment after a wedged vehicle, which is something you never want to see in this type of moment. DRX, though, this is the team that I say usually performs quite well on this circle. But they're stuck down towards that south side for the time being. Currently up against Thunder Talks.
Looking to try and move in on that south side. I mean, that hilltop to the south is fairly decent to play from on the south side. You've got a lot of oversight to the compound towards Team Spirit, but the circle just keeps pushing you away and away from it. So that hilltop, less valuable now, not really ideal to go and fight for it. So DRX going to readjust, reapproach. Wild does fall for RCB. The last player there falls down. And I'm looking at the map and I'm seeing Kitsune out in the water there. I'm not entirely sure what he's gone for, but it's going to work out for them. Regroup there, maybe on a hovercraft potentially, to be able to get through as quick as he did. Thundertalk going to try and send towards the roadside, but getting lit up by Apex. And the second as well, soon to follow. 4MV staying alive, 7 elims and 4 players. Let's see what they can do from the southwest side.
4MV, this is a good opportunity. Look, the fact of the matter is, 7 elims, they've not done too terribly in the last 3 matches. Up to 18 points. It's a good start for 4MV. And like I said, this is a team, although looking first place, looking more for redemption here at PMGC also. DRX moving around on that eastern side. Incilio once again into those final moments of the game with 5 eliminations early on. Great stuff.
Incilio down to 3 players though. They're trying to push in on this eastern side. You can see Nomi, the outpost for Team Spirit, towards the ridge that sits out there. And it's really difficult to move in past where Incilio currently sit. With the positions on the south that haven't really been taken care of, they can't move freely, but they're going to go for this crash now. Incilio on the north side are making their move, and Team Spirit have put a lot more pressure onto this east side. Kitsune moving in to bolster that side of their hold. Matic going to be holding the west almost on his own, as Guild have managed to survive for quite a while after crashing into this position, but they have 3 players and likely going to have to leave soon. Influence Rage just across the road from it. DRX suffering the most for it, however, as Soez goes low, goes down. Guild may be able to pick up another point.
Horrendous spot to play from down on this south side. You're pushing through open ground down towards teams that are already set up inside buildings. For Guild, they will have to move further forward, but honestly, very well played to them to be able to get towards this position. I mean, they were looking for an open road in towards this circle, and they certainly found one. It did take a while to get here, though. 4MV starts to creep, looking over the top, and it might just be the Vicious to potentially bail Team Spirit out this horrendous location versus Incilio.
The only thing keeping Matic alive is the Vicious as well, but he is slowly bleeding out. You can see his health bar almost nothing, and I don't think Team Spirit get this one back under control. Incilio with a last-ditch wide sweep here in the McLaren. And David looks to try and shut that down, but is he going to be able to find the crash all the way on the wraparound? The backline certainly not so lucky as Apex crest the ridgeline over towards their high ground counterpoint on the east edge. They have the blue zone pushing. Bash has to step up. Redlick as well. Incilio not long for this one.
Doc is going insane inside Predator of the circle, and Doc, he needs no introductions.
Team Spirit on the rollout. 1 player dropped by the wayside. It's Kitsune and Effects to move into the rest of the match. Spray down over towards 3TN, and 3 teams remain. The Vicious on the off angle. 2 players there. Team Spirit as a duo as well, but it is 4 players for 4MV. Riding high. Over towards the high ground as well. Nades around the edge, and it is the first of all. Effect is out.
Vicious with 2, but Kitsune right now looking like easy prey for 4MV. Kitsune looking to take his fate into his own hands. A Molotov drops to the ground and he'll burn to a crisp. Kitsune is out. Now down to 2 players, the Vicious and 4MV. 21 eliminations, looking to break their previous record.
23 eliminations potentially on the cards here for 4MV as Doc sweeps out to the wide angle. 2 players stand in their way right now. A big nade could cause some upset, but I just don't think it's
Going forward, we've got the purple massive over towards the western side. Huge from 4MV, completely obliterates Na'Vi.
able to take down the remaining players of Na'Vi. Doc with a big nade over the top. It's been a while since we started to see that sort of pressure. And now 12 elims found for 4MV. From the southwest side, they will have to move past Team Spirit, try and take control of it. But for now, they are in charge of this game from the southwest side. The west edge contested by the Vicious, by Enigma Galaxy as well. And from the north side, closer to the coastline, that will be the major threat. Influence Rage, clear out Guild on the south side. They will have a little bit longer to play with. Incilio, however, still yet to make their move fully towards Team Spirit.
Is this the docketing once again? Happening before our eyes, on an angle. This is the one time where if you're a 4MV fan, you're almost hoping for a second place so they don't get too big for their boots here. That's all I'm saying. I think in 4MV, this is a good chance to get back into the groove of things. Again, redemption is what this team wants. Reputation. Trying to claw that back here for 4MV. Incilio over towards that eastern side. Now have to come face to face with Team Spirit inside their compound. Like you said earlier, Matic alone on an island off towards that western side.
Has the backstop of that ridge line to play with that is facing off against 4MV. But as soon as they signal go time, as soon as the Vicious are dealt with, this is such an opener potentially for 4MV. You've got Enigma Galaxy, their remaining players still stuck in this western side as well. Ralph and Redox going to make things a little bit stickier on the west. Incilio looking to try and slow down Influence Rage, and seemingly it's going to be fairly successful. But it's 4MV, the main benefactors here. There is a knock sent back their way, but will that be a flush? Will that be taken away? I'm not entirely sure. Doc on that forefront does have a teammate right next to him. Apex is already going for the res, and Influence Rage will not be able to make it into this circle if Lil Boy doesn't get his skates up.
14 eliminations so far here on our angle. 4MV looking to start a fire inside this lobby towards Sosnovka. Started in military base, and they are certainly bringing the thunder over towards this north side.
with 14 other players still left in this lobby. The rest of Team Spirit can't move in to help, but in comes the Vicious with that sideswipe angle. Nick Galaxy as well. They're fighting on two fronts. Apex has been knocked, Redox goes down then, and Ralph is low, taken away as well. That comes through from the nade from Reapers. 2-11 move up to this ridge line. He doesn't really have too many options.
I mean, here in the UK, purple signifies royalty, and right now they're looking like
The Prince Nation's found a 4MP up to 15 elims, looking to try and get that res. You can see Matic is giving ground and allowing them to
amongst the purple teams that sat all the way up towards that western side. You love to see it. Of RMV taking this further and further. Team Spirit look to potentially shut this one down, but on the momentum they've got, they are blazing a trail forward inside this lobby.
It's not easy to bounce back. But with Doc at the helm, 7 elims under his belt this match, they'll see if they can find it. Kitsune, nade over towards Westron. Team Spirit still holding his players in this compound to try and deal with it. But Incilio is a bigger threat right now because they have to move. They know this crash is coming. Team Spirit are going to use a lot of time and a lot of nades to deal with this scenario, and this might allow 4MV to just fully take control.
These are seriously unfortunate nades. I mean, the sidesteps have been unreal coming through from Incilio. Doc sending one of those Doc nades over towards Matic as he crawls back towards his team. Redlick will get a little bit of damage done. There's fantastic smoke laid down over towards him. And now Team Spirit's more concerned about getting their boy back up in action. Must be limited on nades as well. They want that anchor point to come through, but
He wants these last two players go. As the crossfire on the nades, this is dangerous. Okay.
Uh-oh. Classic Doc back in action.
Oh no.
You hate to see it. The Vicious, though, currently on the outer edge at the moment. 4MV holding a lot of space. Doc gives his life for the rest of the team. A lovely shot from Baron. Now one more left remaining, and Reefus looks to finish it off, and it's 4MV with 23 eliminations and a